Well, now let's get on to this, because we know a lot is going on in Parliament, and we just brought to you how the first Deputy Speaker of the House, Joseph Osei-Wusu, has rebuffed accusations of overturning agreed rulings from Speaker Alban Gbagbe following a failed minority motion demanding a probe into COVID expenditures last week. We also do know that there had been concerns raised by the Speaker within the week about how he had concerns about the position and also the actions of his deputy on many other subjects and rulings in the House. But we have to put all these into perspective. We do have on the line Dr. Rasheed Draman. He is Executive Director for the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs, and we're privileged to have him join us because he's been very busy trying also to make sure that he's in the middle of all this, trying to find some consensus on the subject. But Dr. Draman, good evening. You've monitored with the concerns of the Speaker over the last couple of days, but also a sharp response or rebuttal by the second Deputy Speaker. How do we ensure that there's a certain truth in all this?
Well, Roland, thank you very much for having me. I think the way we manage this, there is only one way, and that is one in which, at least as the Right Honourable Speaker said on the floor of the House that day when he commented on this matter, he said he was looking more forward to how he can work very closely with his deputies to avoid what seems to be a kind of a breaking down of communication and relationship between him and his deputies. So I think that might be the way out. Hopefully, I don't know when this conversation is going to happen between the two of them and or the three of them, because he has two deputies. Hopefully, with that kind of conversation, they will come to a common understanding in terms of how, as the kind of institution of the office of the Speaker, which involves the two deputies, they can find a way of working together to make sure that at least even if there are disagreements, maybe those disagreements are settled, behind closed doors, not in the full glare of the public.
And also exposing the legislature to public ridicule. But you look at the back and forth that had ensued between the two, if not the two sides. What sort of precedents are they setting, or are we setting as a country?
Well, certainly not a very good precedent. One, because, we all know where they belong and where they are coming from in terms of their political orientation. We also know that in this 8th Parliament, the stakes are very, very high. Unfortunately, our constitutional arrangement and the standing orders are such that, there isn't very much clarity in terms of the role of the deputy speakers, first as MPs and second as presiding officers. If you go to some countries, particularly some of our neighboring countries, I've sat in some parliaments where the Speaker and all his deputies, in all the parliaments, they have about 6 deputies. Every political orientation in the House has a representation at that high level. They are MPs, they are counted at the beginning of every kind of sitting during a meeting. They are counted in order to establish a quorum. And then they also vote. Unfortunately, in our space here, until we change the rules or until some body like the Supreme Court provide some clarity and direction, that is what we have. There isn't very much clarity, and then they are first and foremost MPs, except the Speaker, and at the same time, at different times, they can also get themselves in the seat as presiding officers.
Right.
So, these are all matters I think that would need some kind of very serious reflection as we shape the nature of our democracy, the lessons that have been learned. How do we maybe revise some of these practices and the rules in order to accommodate all these things that are happening now that we haven't seen before?
Right. And I know that your organization is in the thick of affairs, doing interaction or undertaking interaction on both sides. But it looks like since December, we've been talking about how consensus building is very important. Indeed, on another network, I just had a former chief of staff of the same Fourth Republic in the Kufuor administration, Kojo Mpiani, make the emphasis that there needs to be some consensus building. The leadership, especially on the side of government business, need to realize about what is at stake, the structure of the parliament we have, and do what is needful. Why is it that the two sides, or we just haven't come to that realization as a state?
Well, sometimes, Roland, as they say in conflict resolution and in some of these very difficult matters, sometimes you have to get to a point when the timing is ripe. And I think we have gotten to that point now, especially with, the human reality staring us in the face, apart from all the other, beyond everything else. These people in the parliament, they are human beings. You can wake up, you don't feel well, you can't be in the house and all those things. And so I think it's dawning on everybody now that we cannot continue like this.
Okay.
During the heat of the E-levy, people came into parliament in clutches and so on and so forth. Now everybody is watching their back and you have to be there. You don't know when a surprise will be sprung on you. This cannot continue.
Okay.
And I think the timing is now, and I hope we'll be able to find a way to work together so that Parliament can work again.
And then just in 20 seconds, do you feel that this current speaker feels disrespected or is being disrespected?
Not really. I think he just feels, because maybe he has been in the House for long, and like he said, he has been to many parliaments, and so have I. We've seen how other parliaments work. And so I'm sure maybe his expectation is quite high. We have a lot of first-timers in the House, a lot of people who have never had very much experience in politics and so on. So, a combination of all these things, what is producing some of what we are seeing in terms of the reactions and in terms of, how he looks at things.
All right, thank you very much. Dr. Rasheed Draman is Executive Director for the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs.